Right, okay, welcome to the Pilates session, our third one in our little 4-session series. So today we've got a couple of new exercises to be working on. We've got one called rolling like a ball, which is great fun. We've got one called single leg stretch, one called double leg stretch. We've got another 3. I've actually chosen to drop the 7th one off, so we're working on 6. We've got our 100, our roll up, and our circles that we did in the previous session. And like I say, we've got 3 more to add on today. Now, when we add those on, we need quite flexible buttock muscles. Now, most of us are really, really tight in those bum muscles. And so we're going to test out, like I said, all the time. It's always good to test it before and after. So one of the ways we're going to test it out, and we would have done a little bit of this in the stretch sessions. First of all, take your hands a little nice distance apart, knees practically together. You just take your hips from side to side, just so you feel what's going on in about how tight it is. I'm going to show you an extra little stretch for those buttocks in today's session to prepare you for the particular new Pilates movements we're doing. So as you take your hips to the side, sit back towards your heels and you'll feel just how tight it is up round the top of your hamstrings into your butt. You'll see, and you'll want you to notice which side is tightest. So as we come up, we'll go over to the other side and we'll sit back. Yeah, both tight. These areas at the top of the hamstrings into the buttocks are always pretty tight for us. So it's amazing how much more efficient our bodies can be when we loosen those off. Good. Now we kind of got our starter action and starter amount of tension. We know how tight we are, maybe more in one side than the other. We're going to take ourselves, flip ourselves over onto our backs, and we're going to do our real special glute stretch, different to what we've done in the stretch classes. So if we just cross one knee over the other knee, okay, and then you're going to lace your fingers together and place them over the top of that knee. Now I've just crossed my left leg over my right leg, and I can actually already feel a stretch in my right buttock. Now, if you have been following along with the stretch classes, you know we use a special little technique called Pnf Stretching. Lovely long word, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, which kind of, if you like, it's like a little hack. It tricks the body into releasing its tension and becoming more flexible. So what we're going to do here is to add the PNF in, is I want you to push your knee forwards up into your hands, but resist it. So it's a bit like tug of war. Push the knee up into your hands and resist it, and you'll feel your butt muscle tries to work, but it's not allowed to work by shortening. It actually works by lengthening, and that's our sneaky PNF. Once you've pushed it, breathe in, and then all you're going to do, take the outside hand away, and actually no, you're not at all. You're going to hug the knee into the chest and pull it over to the side, and then you'll get the stretch just a little bit. There's various things we can do. We're going to start with this one. Okay, roll onto your back again. And you'll find gradually your leg will come higher and higher and higher up towards your chest. So in this new position, try and push your knee forwards up into your hands, resist it. You can think of the 2 slinky springs in your chest and your back from our first session. Open it out to get good form. Push that knee on the in-breath, and then pull the knee back to your chest and slowly pull over to the side. So if I've got my left leg crossed over my right leg, I'm going over to the right. If it's the other way around, you go over to the other side. And then you'll feel that stretch, pulling the knee up to your chest and then pulling it over to get that stretch. Sometimes you might do a little flopsy all the way over and have to reset yourself. Let's do this again. Actually, we'll change it a little bit. If the glute is really, the buttock is starting and the hamstring is starting to open up, you should be able to take that leg higher and higher up each time. It might start out here and it will start to get higher and higher. It's a good sign you're making progress. Okay, and now from here, what I want you to try and do is, if you've got the left leg crossed over, then you're going to try and push that butt cheek forwards and down into the mat. Breathe in when you press. Be a similar but slightly different stretch. And as you breathe out, pull that knee up to your chest. Think of your slinky spring across your chest and your slinky spring across your shoulder blades as you pull that knee over. Keep pulling it up to your chest and pull it over there. Will give us a nice little stretch. Back to the middle. See if you can come up a little higher. Let's do one more here. Push that left buttock forwards, down into your mat, breathing in. Wide slinky springs in your chest and back. And then pull that knee up to your chest and take that leg over. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Don't worry if you flop over. Good. Now you can do a little test here. I'm going to spin around so you can see. You do a little test here to see how much you've opened up that joint in that ball and socket joint of your hip. So I've just opened up my left side. I'm going to have to go back a bit. I'm not even on camera. Okay. Right. We're going to do some windscreen wipers, but from laying down. So I'm going to let my legs drop out, take them slightly apart, and I'm going to roll them in. Let them drop out, roll them in. And what you should notice, you can probably see for me on the camera, if I relax my legs out, you can see just how much this left knee that I've just opened relaxes. And that's because there's a lot more space and flexibility in my hip. My right is still a bit tight, yeah? So you can see that one goes out a bit further. Now, if you roll them in and out, I can actually feel the ball inside that hip socket that I've just stretched is moving. You can actually place your hand up on the front of the socket. You can feel that moving a lot more. And it feels like it's a bit stuck in this right hip because I haven't opened it up. It's a bit glued up and I'm actually feeling more down in the knee. So we're opening out these hip sockets. This is really good, whether you're the parents doing it or whether you're the kids at home doing it. This will help you either stop any further degeneration, grind and bump in those hip sockets to stop you needing a hip replacement in the future. Well, that's nice. Oh, well. Ooh, okay, I was working with the feather duster when I was filming this, and I think I've still got a bit of dust in the air. Right, we can cross the other leg over. It starts quite far away from you. It's amazing how little flexibility you have in the beginning. So often when you bring your hands over the top there, you're often at full arm's length when you first start off. So first things first, push that knee up into the hands and hold it still. Resist it, so it's not allowed to move anywhere. You'll feel all that stretch up through the back. It's like a working stretch. We call it eccentric, which is lengthening under tension, rather than concentric, which is shortening under tension. So push on the in-breath, and then pull that knee up to your chest as far as it's comfortably able to do so, making sure you've got no pinches at the front in the hip socket, in the groin. Hold that knee up and just gently pull it over, and you'll feel the fibers stretching in the bum and that hamstring as you take that leg over there. Oh, good stretch, good stretch, good stretch, all the way over until you almost flop over there. Bring yourselves back, cross it over. You'll find almost straight away that knee will come up a bit higher and your elbows are bending now rather than being at arm's length, right? And so from here, same again, push the knee up into the hands. But this time, because you're closer, you've got your elbows wide, you've got your slinky spring stretch in your chest and your shoulder blades as you push on the in-breath. And the out-breath, pull that knee up to your chest and gently roll over. Getting that stretch, getting that stretch, getting that stretch, getting that stretch. All the way over there. Good. And now we'll do last one here. Last two, what we're going to do is try and push this butt cheek forwards and down into the floor, okay? So when we're ready on that one, push that butt cheek forwards, hold that knee still, slinky springs, chest and back, breathing in. Feel it all eccentrically working hard in that butt to try and do the movement, but it's not allowed. And then breath out, bring that knee up to your chest, slowly pull it over, pull it over, pull it over. Keep pulling the knee up at the same time, and you'll get the stretch all the way around there. One more of those. Push that butt cheek forwards, breathing in. And then pull that knee up to your chest and gently roll it over. Lovely. Okay, test out your windscreen wipers. And what we should find now is there's loads of movement. That you've created more space of that ball in the socket and it's freer in there. It's not so glued up. Let's go back to our first assessment that we did on all fours. Spin that around. Hands nice and wide, knees together. When we go from side to side, you should feel you've got more range of movement here now. That's opened up. The big clincher, when we go to the side and sit back, is there less tension? Can you sit back easier? I certainly can on that left side there. Over to the right. Oh, that was the tight one, but it's freeing up. And you should notice now, even if it might be a bit tight, it gives and it gives and it gives and it gives as you sit back. So you're really starting to open out all of that tension around the back of this hip socket in your glutes and at the top of the hamstrings, which is where a lot of hamstring tears, if you're into your sports and dynamic movements, it's going to be good. If you're doing sort of more hip workouts and stuff, lunges and all sorts of those kind of stuff, lunges, squats, all those kind of movements are going to get way better. You're going to be able to squat deeper, lunge deeper, and get more out of your movements without hurting your joints. So again, the benefits of doing this is that you can do your harder physical exercise way better and get more out of it. Okay, so if you've done a hip workout before, you might have come across, especially a Joe Wixie sort of workout, is you would have come across something called the mountain climber, right? Just checking I was recording, but good. And when you do the mountain climber, it requires this stretch across the back here. So you might have done something like this, right? So often you're out here, Joe Wicks will be like, right, here we go. What we're going to do is do a mountain climber, and we're going to pull those knees up, 30 seconds, and do all of that, you know? And that's Joe Wicks, pull it up. And that requires, when you pull one knee up, it requires everything to stretch down and around when we do that action. And when we get to the single leg stretch today, guys, that we're going to do, that's key to that action, okay? So what we're going to practice once again is an advanced version, because of course you did session number 2, session number 3. I'm cranking it up another gear of the caterpillar balloons. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a tougher advanced version if you're up for it. So we're on our all fours again. We're just going to do one round of normal caterpillar balloons, and then we'll build it up. A slight angle for you here. Perfect. So remember, you let your head relax, shoulders relax, tummy relax, everything relax. And then you're going to imagine heart bungee balloons hanging down there. You're going to imagine your 2 long balloons hanging on that water balloons hanging on that elastic band, and a whole bunch of tummy balloons, okay? And with your mind's focus, what you're going to focus on is the heart balloon being the first one as it's hanging. It's like a little Chinese lantern, meandering and floating its way up. It goes through the body and up and away. And then the long balloons get invited along for the ride, for the party. Yeah, that's it. And then the tummy balloons come all the way up as well. And you'll notice you've got more freedom in here. Your bum will tuck under more after that stretch we just done. Then when we reverse it, tummy balloons actually start to float back down, meandering their way down. Long balloons start to come down too. And finally, that heart balloon comes down. Good. Right. So what we're now going to do is, as those balloons float up, we'll do it one more time floating up, but then we're going to tuck our toes under behind, and I want all of those balloons, heart, lungs and tummy balloons, to float you up in the air so your knees float off the floor just about an inch, not much at all, okay? So it's going to look like this. I'll speed it up, floating those balloons up, heart, lungs, tummy balloons. Now I want you to make sure that you're not sitting back, or you're not going too far forward. Your weight's even over your hands and your knee, or toes and your hands. And those balloons float your knees up off the floor a little bit, and then lower down from there. Okay? So let's give that a go. Let everything relax first. Let it all float down. Heart's floating up. Lungs floating up. Tummy balloons floating up. Keep those toes tucked under. The balloons all together, one big bunch of balloons like that Disney Pixar film Up that floats the house up with all those balloons. You're the house, okay? So as those balloons float up, at a certain point, it's going to float. We all work those knees off the floor. Now what you're trying to do is make sure you're not pushing with your hands or pushing with your toes, because the house in Up doesn't push up in the air. The balloons float it from above, and it's your balloons that are floating you, not your hands and feet pushing you up, okay? Let's give that a lovely little go. I'll take it one stage further. So I think you're ready for it. I think you can do it. Floating up, heart, lungs, and tummy balloons. Tucking the toes under. Keep them floating. Keep them floating. Keep them floating until they float. Good. And then what you're going to do? The wind's going to blow you from the back, and it's going to blow you forwards a little, and then it's going to blow you back a little, keeping those knees off the floor that little bit, and then come back to the middle and lower down. Starts to get quite tricky when we're doing this sort of stuff. But this is going to set us up magically for the Pilates movements you're going to learn today. So we're going to do that one more time. Then relax. You might want to give the wrists a little release, a little roll around. Okay, tuck those toes under in preparation. Ready, heart balloons floating up, lung balloons floating up, tummy balloons floating up. Keep them floating, floating, floating. It's a magical point when it will actually lift your body. Try not to press into your hands. There's going to be some pressure there. You know, we're not levitating off the floor magically, but think of the balloons doing the lifting. The knees float a little bit, come forwards a little bit, keep the knees floating, come back a little bit, keep the balloons floating up, and then back to the center and back down. So you could have often felt quite a stretch around your knees when you're doing this. Often quite a lot of hard work on the wrists and hands. So take care with it, take regular breathers. Don't push yourselves, as always. Lovely. Right. Okay. There's our little warm-up for today. That's kind of got us ready for the main event. So the next movement we're going to learn is a movement called rolling like a ball, which is great fun. And a lot of people, when they just roll like a ball, just tuck up and they roll about the place. And everyone seems to be able to do it. Some people can, very few people can't. And it doesn't matter if you can't, but we're going to do it properly. So setting you up for this, a bit different. Sitting upright, palms, you're going to turn the palms inwards, 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock a little. So your elbows go out to the sides. You can say, I don't want them behind me just yet. I want them pointed straight out to the side to me, right? Just so I can get my chest and my back springs. Now imagine I've got a buttoned up shirt, normal shirt that I button up, but I put it on backwards. And so I've got all the buttons going down the back, right from the back of my neck, right? And what I'm going to try and do, if I was to blow up my tummy, those buttons, it would all burst, especially if I've got a big old belly on me and I opened it all up and those buttons were ready to almost burst with the expansion. Now, because I've got my shirt on the back, I'm going to focus on trying to expand through the back. So when we've talked about zipping up and the back zip over and down, we're really expanding, like blowing up like a big balloon or a wind sail in a ship. You know, when the wind catches a big sail, it all opens up, it expands. That's what we're wanting in our back, okay? So what we're going to do, palms down by our sides, turn them in a little bit so the elbows point out. Yeah, you've got your imaginary baked bean cans under your feet again. They always tend to pop in there. And then what you do is just push forwards a little bit, as if the wind has gushed into the front and it's pushed out, it's opened up your back, and you're popping all those buttons behind you, okay? That's where you want to stay. And from here, we're going to slowly drag your baked bean cans in. That wind's keeping the wind in the sails. And then you're going to keep pushing your palms across the floor, but they don't move. That helps you keep your sail pushed back. You slide your baked bean cans out. It's often quite a lot of stretching going on here, so we're going to do 2 more. Push your palms forwards. Keep zipping up the back, over and down the bridge of that nose. Slide the legs back out. Let's do 1 more. Pull your cans in. And as you pull the cans in, you go from heels to toes, okay? And then slide back out. Whew. Take your hands behind you. Give your legs a bit of a rest. Because the biggest thing, one of some of the tightest muscles in your body, you might have done this before, sort of gym stuff and whatever, is your quad muscles, your big thigh muscles. Now, often what we do is we get like foam rollers and we try and batter the living daylights out of these thighs to try and break down the tension. It has limited success doing that. What we're actually doing, the key to it, is making sure everything is connected properly and we're actually balancing the system, not just treating one part, working with the whole part, which, as you notice, we've got palms, we've got shoulders, we've got front and back, we've got backs of the legs, front of the legs, all the way down to the toes. There's really is holistic exercise. You're moving, when you go to move just 2 limbs, 2 legs, the whole body's involved with it all. And that's really the essence of what Pilates is all about, getting the whole body working together in balance. Right, I'm going to show you what happens next after after this. So we're going to do 3 more. We come in and out, in and out. And on the third one, we're going to come in to the tiptoes. We take the arms all the way around. I'm going to spin around. And I've got all that wind still in my back sails. I'm on my tiptoes. And I'm going to try, you know, when we were doing our glute movements, we're pushing the knee in and resisting it. And that makes our chest and our back springs open up. That's what we're doing when we're here in our tiptoes. So we're dragged in. We then come around. And then with our in-breath into our back sail, we breathe in. But as we breathe in, we try and push the knees into our hands. So it creates us like one big beach ball. We breathe in, push the knees into the hands, and breathe in, and push the knees into the hands to come up. Okay? Spin my mat around so you can see a bit better. Okay, so let's get ready. Let's give this a shot. Palms turning in a little bit. We're going to do 3 movements, and then on the third one, we'll bring our arms around. 1, pull your baked bean cans into your tiptoes. Slide them back out. Wind's in the back of the sails. 2, pulling in. Slide them back out. 3, pull them in. Hold them in. Bring your arms around the outsides. Push your knees into your hands. Feel your sails fill up with air, with breath, and then breathe in and keep pushing your knees forwards into your hands. Breathe in and push the knees into your hands to come back up. Good, that was 1. We're going to do 2 more. Push the knees into the hands. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then stretch. Try and tuck up into as smallest ball as you can. Chest springs opening up. Last one. Breathing in. Into your stretch, into your roll. Whew. Okay. That's our rolling like a ball. And it takes time. It takes time to free up these quads, but you're going to feel fantastic after doing all this work, okay? Right. I'm going to move my mat back a little bit more. Create a little bit of space. Good, 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 good. Right. Single leg stretch. Next one you're going to learn. And as you'll see why we did all of the glute stretching in the beginning. So we were working on our previous movement, previous class, the 100. Okay, so our 100, that first movement, getting into position, we had a towel, didn't we, remember? And we had our baked bean cans. We pulled the cans in and we pulled the towel back. And then when we slid the cans out and we took that towel forwards, we zipped up the back and down the front into that position where the feet just float off the floor and the head floats gently up, okay? That's the position we want to go to for single leg stretch. And it's like an upside down mountain climber, like I mentioned from Joe Wicks. And so again, just watch me a sec. I'll demo it first to show you what we're doing. We're going to go into our 100. Arms come back, arms come forwards. I'm zipping up the back, down the front, and I've raised up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift one leg up, as if I'm going to lift that heavy baked bean can that's underneath my foot. And when that knee gets up there, I'm going to bring both hands over the knee, and I'm going to push that knee up into my hands and breathe in. And then, so I'm pushing in and I'm trying to push my butt cheek forwards down at the same time, like you did with your glute stretch. And then that leg's going to fire out and the other one's going to come up. I'm going to swap my hands over there. I'm going to push that knee up into my hands and breathe in. And breathe out. And I'm going to swap it over. This one, the baked bean cans. You're taking one baked bean can out, you're lifting the other one up. You just simply swap your hands over to the other knee, push the knee up into your hands on the in-breath now. And on the out-breath, hug your knee closer into your chest. Lift the opposite leg up, lift the heavy baked bean can up, pull it back, hands over the knee, push the knee up into your hands, breath in, keep zipping up that back zip, over and down the bridge of your nose, down the front, breathe out, hug the knee more to your chest. Good, that was just 2 each side. Whew. Take a breather, ease it off, do a few little windscreen wipers. You'll notice the more we do all of this work, the more open and the more flexible and free your hips become. This is a tough one. Don't worry at this point, right? If you're feeling, look at this whopping great big muscle down here. This is called the sterno. It used to be a lot tighter for me. It's freeing up now. Sternocleidomastoid, another good name. Big long finger muscle attaches to the sternum, you know, down here, your breastbone. And then big finger muscle comes up behind the back of your ear, a little bumpy point called the mastoid process. So often that muscle down the side here is really tight for you, and it's aching. But remember, I was telling you, the type of contraction we're looking to do is eccentric, load under tension, rather than shortening concentric under tension, right? And so these tight muscles are eccentrically loaded. When you eccentrically load a muscle, it will stretch a bit more. It will let go. And then you keep doing that until it's fully let go. So you'll notice after this session, you always know whether you've done some good releasing eccentric work because you're more flexible. So it shows your muscles have let go, not got tighter. If you can't move and you're tight and stiff, then you've gone too much concentric and your system's closed up, and it's not a healthy thing. You know, it might look good in the mirror, but it's not good if you need to be healthy. What we want is a free, open body. Sweet, right, so that was our single leg stretch. Now we've got a double leg stretch to go into. So once we've finished our single leg stretch, we've been pushing the knee up into the hands and then pulling back on the out breath. Pulling the knee up into the hands, pulling back on the out breath. Once we've done that, when we finish those, both legs go out and both arms go down the side of your hips. Then you're zipping up the back, and guess what? Down the front, right down in between the legs and out through the big toes like a laser beam. And then what we do is we pick both baked bean cans up. We push both knees up into the hand. So this is like a laying position from your rolling like a ball a bit, yeah? So it's about the laying position. So you push the knees up into the hands, resist in, and try and push your butt cheeks down into the floor. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, zip up the back, zip down right through the center, through your legs, and pull the knees into your chest. And then what we can then do is take the legs out, arms go long, breathe in. And then as we breathe out, bring those legs up, push the knees up into the hands, and pull them back at the same time. Zipping up the back, down the front, and out through the center, through your legs. And then slide the legs out, take the heavy baked bean cans out and low, and arms down by your side. Lower down, lower that head down. For most of us in these beginner stages, we're feeling lots in that neck. If you're feeling it in the back, really take care of what you're doing. Take regular breathers. Don't keep doing it. Obviously, I'm staying up in this position for a prolonged amount of time. So because I'm explaining it, but you can keep coming back down, keep coming back down, keep coming back down. Good. So let's just try that one again so we get that one right. Right, so imagine you've got your towel. You're pulling out on that towel. Imagine you've got the soles of the feet, the cans under the soles of the feet. We're pulling in and we're dragging the cans in, we're taking the bar behind. Heavy tailbone down into the floor. As you slide the cans out and the towel goes down, zip up the back, down the front, legs float, head floats. Good. Take a big inhale. Actually take your arms down by your sides now. Breathe in to prepare. And as you breathe out, take those knees up. Try and push the knees up into your hands. Big, wide stretches out through the chest springs and go up that back and down the front. Legs go out, slide the arms down by your side and out breath. Coming up the back and down the front. Push the knees into the hands. Nice wide shoulders, getting that stretch. And then one more. Take the legs out, take the arms down and relax there. Awesome. Good. The thing is with a lot of this, with the original Pilates work, guys, is you don't have to do many repetitions, as you're finding, to get the results. So Joseph Pilates would have always said, you know, like this is a copy of his original book, and you can see him doing, you know, here's his 100 look, zipping up the back, down the front with his arms in the way, just his feet floating off the floor. That's it. So we're doing the original stuff, and because we have all our fascial knowledge, we understand now why Joseph did it, how he did it. It's a very safe technique if we take it step by step and we listen to our bodies. But in like his manual, he would say, only do 5 of these, only do 3 of these. Because when you do it right, you only need to do small bits and then they all add up. When you do 5 of those in that movement, 3 of these each way in that movement, 5 of them, boom, you get all the results, and your body, like a Rubik's Cube that's being put back in order, gets back in order. Okay, how are we doing for time? I might just put a little bit in at the end. Let's just see what we got going on. Yeah, got a little bit of time left, as I thought we would do. So, we're going to do one last little movement, which is called a back press, which is a real valuable movement to help us out. It helps our pelvis, it helps our back, okay? So we don't want the pillow for this one. We can just lower down and we can have our feet by our sides. So what you're going to try and do is bring your heels in towards your bum as much as you can. A little bit of distance. Think about a tennis ball gap between your feet, what that feels like. That'd be about right. And our goal here with our back press is to use all the back of our body to lift us up from underneath, just like forklift truck arms go underneath and lift a pallet up, you know. So we want to feel everything that's in the back of our body. The soles of our feet, that counts as the back slice of bread. Our tailbone, our back and our shoulder blades, our arms and our palms, and let's not forget our head. So I want you to feel all of those areas and imagine you're laying on a memory foam mattress. And what you're going to start to do is start to try and make an imprint with your feet into the memory foam, with your palms into the memory foam. And if you zipped up through the back and down the front, your chin will drop a little bit and your head would also imprint. Your tailbone, we don't have to worry about, that's actually going to lift. So with your feet imprinting, your palms imprinting, your zips flowing in the right order, so the back of your head imprints, what we're going to find is your pelvis, your hips, your bum can slowly float up off the floor. Again, a bit like that Chinese lantern that is floating up as we bring it up there. Just take it up as high as you can. It's going to be dictated how high you can go by your thighs. Now I want you to do a little double check. Take your imprinted hands off the floor and check your butt muscles. We don't want them squeezing. A squeezed butt means that you're not connected properly to the fascia of the outside. So we want nice relaxed butt muscles. The moment you visualize coming up the back and down that front center, your bum will relax. Okay, so all you need to do to come back down, keep those palms imprinting, the soles of your feet, and the head is weirdly enough, would you believe it, it's coming up that back zip and down that front zip, especially down the front zip. Down the front zip, down the front zip, down the front zip. And as you keep going down the front, down the front, down the front, you'll lower back down. Lower back down, lower back down, lower back down. Keep going up the back, down that front, down that front, down that front. And once your tailbone and bum's back down, keep going down that front. Keep stretching. So your back will often arch a little bit. You'll often come down your mat a little bit into that position. Let's try that again. We're going to do it on the in-breath. Feel your palms, your feet, the back of your head. Breathing in as those imprints and you float up. The zip's always coming up the back, down that front. And when it comes down the front, it goes in, right through that center line, in between your legs and away, out through, beyond your knees. Like a laser beam shooting out, always going forwards, down and away from you, that laser beam, as it's coming up. And you'll notice, second time round, check your butt. Often we're squeezing a little bit. We're often holding our knees out to the side. So if they relax and fall in a little bit, your butt often releases. This is opening up more. You've got up a bit higher, opening up the front line by using the back line. If you check your hamstrings, if you check the backs of your thighs lower down, they're often on, especially up around the top of your butt. So we don't want the butt cheeks on, we want the hamstrings on, and then up the back, down that front, down that center line as we lower, keep the palms, keep the soles of the feet, keep that back of that head imprinting as you stretch down the front, right down through that center line and away, all the way back down there. That's good. At the bottom, just roll your knees from side to side a little bit. It's going to help you out with your flexibility. Okay, we're going to do one more of these back press movements here. And then we'll retest our mountain climber on all fours, our caterpillar balloons with the raised knees on all fours to finish. It's a really good way to see our progress. Right, soles of the feet, palms, zips, head, all ready. And press them down, imprint, float up. Might be able to get a little higher. Check the butt. Don't want to squeeze butt. Don't want to be doing this. Want to just open butt. We're opening out different channels. Nothing wrong with doing this. If you're doing an exercise class and you're actually looking to train those muscles, there's nothing wrong with doing it. I'm not saying it's bad to do this. I'm saying for the sake of what we're doing here, how we're trying to connect the body and open it up, we don't want to do it. If you're looking to tone up muscles, even better. You can do it in conjunction with this. If you did these, that's it. Remember, you're going down that center line, will be lower down. Once you've done these movements, you notice you would have come up higher and higher and higher. You've got better connections, you're better balanced in your system. At that point, when you've opened the body up, then it's great to work it hard. But if you're trying to work your body hard when it's all closed and contracted, you tend to only get more closed and contracted. You don't tend to find this freedom and flexibility. And once upon a time, I used to think you couldn't have both. You couldn't work hard and have flexibility, and the other way round, you could either have one or the other, flexibility or be toned and fit, when actually you can have best of both worlds when your body's set up right. Okay, last little thing we're finishing off on. Onto our palms, tuck our toes under. Let's get ready with our caterpillar balloon. So we're going to float the heart balloon up. We're floating the lung balloons up. We're floating the tummy balloons up. They're going to keep floating, keep floating, keep floating until our knees pop off the floor. Hopefully we're a little bit more bouncy. We're going to come forwards a little. We're going to come back a little. Hopefully you can crouch much deeper into your position now. Knees floating a little bit. Come down with the knees if need be, but keep them up for 3 movements if you can. We're going to push forwards with the toes to be like a cannon coming out of a cannonball coming out of a cannon. We're going to push the forwards with the palms to push back and get the stretch. Back to the middle, lower down. Funny little thing with my throat. Ooh, okay. I might go squeaky like a cartoon character now. That'd be good. Right. Okay. Hopefully you started to feel more stretch in your knees and your thighs there. Remember, it might just be you came up on those knees, forwards a little bit, back a little bit, and then back down. Not a problem. And then take a breather, give the wrist a rest. But what you'll start to notice by doing all these little things that I'm putting together for you, as well as the full Pilates repertoire, and what I'm thinking is I will add number 7 in tomorrow, okay? So not tomorrow, in our last session, our 4th session you got with me, we are going to add the 7th movement in. So in Joseph Pilates' full repertoire, there's 34 movements. If you know how to do those movements properly, as we've been learning, you can, just like any mixed up Rubik's Cube, you'll put your whole body back together, fully balanced, fully powerful, fully healthy. But we're working on the fundamental 7 at the moment. So in our last session, our next session, 4th session there, we're going to learn the 7th movement, which is called a spine stretch. Then I'm going to put a few of these little things, caterpillar balloons, some of the other things we shared together. And then we're going to go from movement 1 to movement 7 as a workout. When you start stringing them up together, that's when they have their impact. It's magical. It's like I say, your Rubik's Cube has to go that way, then this way, and that way, and this way. And then finally, because it's genius, it's back together. Hope you enjoyed that session, guys. Look forward to our last one next time, and I'll see you real soon.